viewers, welcome back to the Self-Made Auto Channel. Got our 2002 Chevrolet. It's a Corvette. It's a big Z06, so whopping 405 HPs, almost as much as a modern day minivan. It has a bad fuel pump, no fuel pressure. We had to push it in. It'll barely run. It almost run at an idle. It has almost no fuel pressure whatsoever. Fuel pump's screaming its little heart out back there. So either there is a problem in the pump itself, or in the transfer system. It's got kind of a funny monkey business transfer system. Two separate tanks, no transfer pump in the other tank. However, it uses some kind of siphon system. Was kind of reading about it on service data. Long story short, we got to get to its jiggly bits to be for certain and then see what's going on, but I'm pretty certain we're going to need a pump. The smell is strong with this one. It smells a little skunky. The guy told me he blasted a skunk on the way here with it, and it is pungent, to say the least. So she split up here. We got transmission differential assembly here, left tank, right tank. The electronic component should be here in the left tank, and that's what we need to get to. So it looks like it has a skid plate on it. Hopefully this is not what also holds the tank in, otherwise we're going to get a big surprise. So we probably should find that out first. Or we can just keep taking stuff apart and see if it hits the floor. Hopefully not. We don't want it to hit the floor. But I'm going to have a little look up in there. I might get an extension. We're probably going to end up looking at service data anyways. I've got a new fuel filter slash regulator for it also. Insanely expensive stuff from GM. I mean, like over $100 for the little fuel filter, but like my dad always told me, you're gonna play, you're gonna pay. I can't be holding the tank in, right, fellas? There's a strap up in there. We better get on the light. Nope, that appears to be what holds the gas tank in. That's about as handy as handy. About as handy as handy. Handy as that's the only nice thing we can say on YouTube. Let's peel off this 10 mil on the back. I don't know if that's going to give us any room. You'd seem like, you know, if this guy spent $500 a month on factory service data, he'd use it instead of guessing, but who am I? Yeah, baby. So it looks like our pump is right here. Well, ain't that handy? That's pretty handy, GM. Except for the fact that I think it's got quite a bit of gas in it. So, good chance we're going to make a tidbit of a mess. Like I say, it's kind of a weird system. Ooh, that felt funny. I don't like sticking my finger. Oh, okay, it's just dirt. Sometimes stuff surprises you. Stick your fingers where they shouldn't be. Yeah, it's kind of a funny system. It sounds like it uses a bit of a Venturi effect from this pump over to this tank over here to create, you know, a high pressure, low pressure situation to equalize the tanks. I didn't read into it too heavily because my thought is I could pull this thing out and kind of deadhead it, but I mean, this thing is screaming. It's screaming like either A, it can't build pressure, or B, you know, that tank's empty as empty. Which it doesn't feel like it is. Let me set you down. Just because we're cracking it loose here, I mean, it feels pretty stout. It feels like it has fuel in it. I'm curious. Let's look at our new pump. So I got a new pump here right from the man. All the way from mainland China. The Chevrolet pump. Haven't even looked at it yet. Let's have a gander. Your classic 19er 4210903. Let's have a look, just like Christmas. There it is. That's what $700 looks like, huh? Wow. There she is, folks. All the way from the mainland. The fuel pump. That must go in. It's got to go in this way. All right. Let me have a look. See. Ah, I am right. For once in my life, I just figured it went that way because that's the way the floaty float works. And then this must articulate a little bit like that. So, kind of odd that GM built this one out of stainless steel, where it has about a 0% chance of rusting. A, because these cars are never driven in the salt. B, because it's in a good location. How about applying this to your Chevrolet truck there, General Motors? So that's what that looks like. I was just curious what it looked like, because do we really have to let the tank down all the way, or can we set it down a little bit? Pull that out, let it hit the floor, and do what we got to do. That's my question. This is the return. Must be from the other tank, because you can see that one just comes into no man's land. And then this must be the pressure. This must be a return of some sort too, because I think, did they say something, or maybe this is the, I will have to look, this could be the other line that sends the high pressure over to the other tank to start to create the venturi to pull back through here. I would have to look at the theory and operation, but perhaps that's it. We can always tell by where the hoses go, who goes where, who does what. Okay, let's get busy. I thought she might hang there. You know, it's still hooked up with the tube that goes tank to tank. I'm just kind of curious here. If we get this little guy right out of the way. Do that without. Got some sticky pads on the bottom of the tank. Stick this on the ground. And then now we try to support the tank. We're going to take and unhook the fuel lines here. Unhook the electrical connector. There's all that jazz. Let's see if we can let it down well. Whoa, fella. I'm wondering if, you know, once we cut this baby loose, if we can give her one of those. I say we go get some buckets. Let's clean this off, get some buckets. Because if we don't have to fiddle with all the crap up there to let the tank down completely, why would we, you know? We're just going to crack this loose. I mean, I assume we're not talking about a lack of fuel simply because it's coming out one of the pipes here. But we're just going to crack it loose ever so slightly so we can start getting it to dribble, because whether we end up taking the tank out all the way or not, it's going to be nice to have it empty. If I play my cards right, this should all end up in my armpits. Hey Josh?
That's right.
Although it's not Monday morning. Oh yeah, there it goes. See, that's how it starts. Runs down the arm. We're going to take these bottom ones out all the way. Not a good point to be using your brush type cordless tools. I know guys are big advocates of those. Let me stick that on the cart, please. When you're working around petrol, as they say across the pond, the sparks that come from your cordless tools are typically not a good idea. General rule. So these are pretty unique. These have a sealing washer on them and a little Loctite. Oh yeah, she got some petrol in her. Go get us a flathead screwdriver, would you, Josh? Screwdriver. So I loosen these up a little bit. Don't get all silly with this, because when the SHTF, that means when the sugar hits the fan, you want to be ready. You go ahead and hold the bucket up there, Josh. If you don't mind, please. Keep her air on there. I don't know how much you're going to get out of there, young man, but we're going to... See? Oh, man. Now it's going in my armpits, right down the screwdriver shaft. You're probably going to get it all, aren't you? If that's getting heavy, you want to swap buckets, let me know.
No.
Ready?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and swap it. Go ahead and hold that right there. Keep it down. The old Dodge K cars, they used to have their fuel pump kind of down on the side like this. The older Grand Marquis and alright, beautiful. Let's see, I'm gonna set these down. Will this baby come out? Probably not. There's probably some silly thing that we gotta take it all. So there's the gasket. Part of that. Boy, the old that thing's got just enough room to squeak out of here, but I don't know about the fuel level sensor. Boy, Jim was pretty proud of this thing here. Let's see. I was thinking I could just pop the arm off to get it out, but come on, baby. Holy smokes, there we go. Obviously, it's not how we're going to put it back together, I don't believe. Because I'm just going to go and drop it down inside the tank. Get ready. And a baby is born. Don't let that flick you in the face. Okay. Yeah, alright, so that's out of there. Let me get the our floater. Oh, son of a mother. Stupid. I gotta get something to get the float out. Okay, yep, now it's cranking the opposite way. Alright. Yeah, see, not much. I just a little bit there. Try it again. That's good. So I see the gasket here has an L on one side and an R on the other, so it must be the same gasket. You must just have to flip it from the left side to the right side. Well, service data is about as useful as tits on a bull. It says to be careful not to bend the arm, and it may need to be twisted to be installed. So, super helpful. About 3 pages on the cautions of gasoline, but no real help as far as installation. It says the unit may need to be rotated, so we're going to see if we can't rotate it in there. It is going to be snug as a mother lover, I tell you what. We can only rotate it in certain directions. Thing is, you know, it feels kind of springy, and I don't know, you know, are we hanging up on the fuel level sensor rod, or is it the giant filter that we're putting in there? I'm going to say it's this fuel level sensor because that thing is tweaking super hard. Okay, that's not too bad right there. Oh, that's a lot of pissing and moaning for something that slid right in. You ever do that, Josh?
Yeah.
Sit there and bitch and complain about something, and all of a sudden it just like, oh, that wasn't really that bad.
I think it helps sometimes.
It does. It
Yeah.
does. If you just cut loose on something someday too, I don't know if it really helps. Vanessa always tells me it doesn't. Like, did that solve anything? She'll say, stay out of it, woman.
It made me feel better, okay?
Yeah, yeah, it makes you feel better. Launch a few tools, make up some new swear words. Yeah,
Yeah, fun times.
good times. Be a mechanic, they said.
Absolutely.
They did say, what did they say? I just want to make sure everything feels right. On the fuel sending unit here, fuel sender, there is a flat mark, which indicates it is level, or the way in which it goes in. And also on the gasket here, there is a small nipple that lines up with that line. I don't know is if you could really put it in any other direction because it only fits one way. The holes are not equally spaced, so you really can't mess it up. So the nipple on the gasket and the line on the fuel level sensor are irrelevant because it only goes one way. Got some screws there. However, some engineer thought that he was being a real stroke of genius by saying, "You must line up the line with the black nipple on the tank. However, it is the only way it'll ever fit." But hey, whatever, he makes a lot more money than I do. Transfer these from the other pump. These are just the retainers. Alright, we won't hook them up yet until we jack it up. Welcome to the Self-Main Auto Fuel Pump Flow and Test Bench. I've tapped into the positive side of the pump. We've got our ground up on the sending unit. It's submerged in an eco-friendly viscous fluid. And we hook it up and she's barely Peter in there, folks. That's deadheaded. And that certainly is not, 60 PSI. Yeah, I mean, you can easily hold it back with your finger. We could stick a gauge on it, but I would reckon about 7 pounds. We can go get a gauge. I just got a low pressure gauge because I don't think we're going to need anything high pressure. Oh, she's pegging out. Guess we're going to need some higher pressure. Can't wash your hands in the middle of my experience here. Good. Unhook that negative if you would, please. Alright, stick this little guy in there. See if I can keep this whole mess together. Go ahead and hook her back up, Josh. And... oh, hold her right on. Whoops, crap. You're really messing up my life, Josh.
Am I?
Yep. Okay, just a second here. Here, unhook yours for a second. I gotta hook this. It's quite a jigger. That's not gas, you smell, honey. Okay, Go ahead and hook that back up, Josh. We're just experimenting, showing the people. This is a test bench. So she's deadheaded at 21 PSI. So see, I'm right. Okay, now we gotta, unhook that, Josh. We gotta get rid of all this environmentally friendly viscous fluid that we're using here at our test bench now. In accordance with EPA and federal laws. What's up, Mrs. O?
Doing the dishes.
Ah, you're such a good woman. What are you cooking us?
Kind of like a goulash.
Kinda like a goulash.
Since we're gonna have kale in it.
Ooh, goulash with a kale in it. Is that poor innocent baby deer over there? Or is that a poor baby cow?
Oh, that's here.
Poor baby deer.
Yep.
How's that make you feel?
Hungry.
Alright. Good woman. So we started working on this Chevrolet out here a couple hours ago.
Is it done?
No.
Why not?
Well, let's see. Where do I begin?
Well, I would say you should be at the end.
Alright, well we gotta go finish it. How long before dinner? I can smell it out here cooking.
Not long.
Alright,
Not long.
you holler back at me, girl.
I'll holler at you.
Holler. That is the way the cookie crumbles today, folks. I don't know what time we started this. I know it was a while ago. But since I started to put this thing in, we had to stop, take a break, and we had to fix the tire for lady. And then we had to program a fuel pump control module on GMC Yukon. And then we had another lady stop by with her Lincoln Town Car. Her trunk wouldn't close, and we had to replace the automatic closing, opening and closing trunk, automatic. Not just power cinch, power, you know, open and close. So I checked out for it yesterday, had to order a new latch for it. So that came in, so I had to go put that in real quick, like a little bunny. And then I was just out, and then another lady came in with her Chevrolet Malibu. And we had to take that for a drive because she hit a big pothole and she was really nervous and scared, and she had to go pick up her baby, and she didn't even dare drive it until I drove it and told her that it was okay to drive. So that's what I did. I drove it and said, "Hey lady, it's okay to drive." She says, "Are you sure?" I said, "Not really, but..." So she's gonna come back and see me tomorrow. We're gonna pick it up on the air, pick it up in the air, and see if everything looks okay. I took it for a drive, got her up to about 85. Everything felt smooth. She's a nervous Nelly, this lady is. Her name's not really Nelly, but you know. Smells like skunk. Not the green sticky kind either, the black and white kind. The nasty kind. Very gingerly check all your bolts before you go get the torque wrench. We'll just make sure those are kind of lightly snugged up, and then we'll go get a torque wrench. We will torque down the fuel level sending unit, we'll torque down all this stuff, we'll torque all the gas lines, and before we do all that though, let's change the filter here. So our gas filter hides up here. We've got a couple lines on the back side, one in the front. I've got the new one right from Chevrolet. Came right from the mainland, China, as Trump would say. It has the bracket. It's got the grounded braided strap on it. Got some innies, innie and outies. That's an outie. That's an innie. That's a return. Fancy. Okay. Insanely expensive for what it is. I believe that it comes with a couple little clips, so it's got these little clippy doodads with it. Warning: fuel system pressurized, fire hazard. Filter should be changed by a trained mechanic. Follow manufacturer instructions. Release fuel system pressure before servicing. Check. Step one, check. So we're gonna come up in there with our 10 mil. I thought we had a cordless ratchet. Let me go find it. Get the nut off. And then, we're going to need a pair of the needle nose type pliers, because we're going to have to reach up in there and push them little clips down in order to release those fuel lines. So let's get that. Let's see. Can I get this situated where you can't see anything? Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, when you're good, you're good. Let me move it so you can see. I don't want to be a jerkwad. Can you see now? Nope. But not as bad as it was. It's not as good as it once was, but it's better than it ever was. It's like a country song. There's that. They're different size lines, so you can't screw this up. I mean, you can screw it up. Anything can get screwed up, but technically you shouldn't be able to stick the line in the wrong hole. So we push the clips together, unhooky those, come up here, get off the bracket. We're going to take our 3/8 quick disconnect tool. Push, push, push. Push it in the hole, okay? Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Ah, right in the eye, son of a frig hole. Ah! You guys are always warning me. And it got me, but good news is, you get gas in your eye, it doesn't last long. So there's the old filter. I'm gonna set that down before I get it in the eye again. Right in the eye. Yeah, we'll set it down there. Seems like a good spot for it. So now we'll take our new filter. Click on those little guys. And you can elect to stick them on the filter or in the fittings themselves. Either way is fine. But we're going to come back up in, take the fixed line, so the hard pipe, stick it in until you feel it click. I need to stick my hand up here. Push, push, push. Ah, there she goes. She clicked right in. Stick it on the stud, the threaded stud, after that. And then we're going to realign our fuel lines here. Push. Wiggle, wiggle, push. Not today. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to plan B. Come on, baby. Why you gotta be like that? Let's see. So we're going to take our little plastic doodads here, our retainers, and we're going to stick them in the actual line themselves, because everybody in the comments is like, bro, you can't stick them on the filter. Typically you can. There, that one just made it easier. This one we're going to leave right on the filter. Push. Push. Darn sure that tab is out. There we go. She's clear. Go answer your phone. Hallelujah. So now that we just did the entire process where you could not see, I'll get you up here. So we got to tighten down that nut. Like I was saying, you got to unhook these two little guys first. Squeeze the little ears with a pair of pliers, and then they'll pull right off. And then use a quick disconnect tool there, which looks like this little tool right here. It's your standard, just 3/8 quick disconnect tool. Goes on the line up here, right up here where you couldn't see. Okay, and you push, 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 push. You stick it in there all the way until it hits the bottom, and that will release the fingers, releasing the hard pipe from inside the filter. All right, we got to torque that bolt down lightly, and then get the torque specs for it. We got that very gingerly snugged up until we can get the specs. Now we need to refill it through the gas hole. Get this baby cranking through its double filtration device. I think we only took out about 4 gallons, at least out of this half, so I imagine it's only half the capacity of what it actually carries. I assume there's another 4 gallons on the other side, but I also don't ever claim to know anything, so could be wrong. But we're going to put in just enough to make sure it runs, make sure our fuel level sensor is not stuck somewhere, you know what I'm saying? I hate to put a whole bunch of gas in it to find out that it's stuck on empty or something. Or full, rather. Somewhere in between. Got some leaf litter. Let's see, this got the old millennial anti-theft device here in the middle. She's a 3-pedal system. Let's turn the key on. Can't even hear that fuel pump. Makes me wonder if it's working. Cycling the key a couple times here. Alright, baby. Whoa, Chevy Thunder! Well, she wouldn't do that before, so that's a good sign. Alright, fantastic. Alright. Let's get these windows up here, folks. Our gas gauge is slightly over quarter, less than half. It's gonna take a minute for that to stay. I've got the rest of the fuel pumped in there. Now, before, we could barely idle this thing in the shop. Come on, baby. I don't want to push you in. She's got no fuel pressure. Come on. Come on, old girl. You can do it. Come on, baby. Oh, you POS. Where's reverse? There we go. That's backwards gear. So we're going to take it for a shake. I don't know how the old tripod on the seat's going to work. Probably not real good. Especially with all the HPs on this little guy. And it's a stick shift. Wait for this car to come here. She's noisy, I'll tell you that. Chevy Thunder! At least we're driving something with some Chevy Thunder finally. Alright folks, that's that. Replacing the fuel pump and filter on your 2002 Chevrolet. It's the Corvette, the Z06 with the 400 HPs in the weird little shifter. And that's it. Nothing more to say. Pretty easy job. Didn't really see it necessary to drop the entire tank unless you're dealing maybe with some kind of contamination and you wanted to clean it all out. Even though that was actually pretty doable where it was. I mean, this is a job you could do, you know, rolling around in the mud, the blood, and the beer in the driveway on a piece of cardboard. Don't see why not. I kind of rather like that design of the fuel pump. I wish GM made the hole a little bit bigger to allow a little bit easier fitment of the sending unit. You know, why we have to have, you know, a thousandth of an inch clearance to, you know, get the pump in there is beyond me. But then again, I'm not an engineer. But one thing is not as beyond me that I hope is not beyond you, that is to go into that comment section, the questions, the comments, the concerns, the Insta, the Facebook. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.